The story of Lucy begins with the 2014 science fiction action thriller directed by Luc Besson, a French filmmaker known for his visually striking, fast-paced, and conceptually ambitious works. Lucy starred Scarlett Johansson in the titular role, and the film explored the extraordinary premise of a human being gaining access to the full capacity of the brain, a concept steeped in both popular mythology and speculative science. The narrative follows Lucy, an ordinary woman whose life is dramatically altered when she is unwillingly forced into a situation involving a new synthetic drug called CPH4, which allows her to access progressively larger portions of her brain's potential. The film's central conceit hinges on a long-debunked scientific myth that humans use only a small fraction of their brain capacity, an idea that has nonetheless captivated audiences and writers in popular culture for decades. Besson's direction emphasizes a kinetic, almost dreamlike visual style, incorporating rapid montages, vivid CGI sequences, and a narrative that shifts fluidly between physical reality and abstract conceptual imagery as Lucy's cognitive powers grow. The original Lucy was produced by EuropaCorp, a French production company that has a track record of combining European filmmaking sensibilities with international commercial appeal, often targeting English-speaking markets and global audiences. The movie blends philosophical speculation with high-octane action sequences, creating a hybrid genre that is as much about introspection and metaphysical speculation as it is about physical thrills and espionage elements. Scarlett Johansson's performance, as both a relatable and increasingly transcendent figure, was widely praised for balancing emotional resonance with the progressively otherworldly qualities of her character. Supporting performances from actors such as Morgan Freeman, who plays Professor Samuel Norman, provide an anchor for the scientific exposition that guides viewers through the increasingly complex philosophical terrain that Lucy inhabits. Freeman's character functions as both a mentor and a narrative device to convey the theoretical implications of Lucy's evolution, introducing ideas about the potential of human consciousness and the interplay between memory, time, and perception. The plot builds gradually from conventional crime and action thriller motifs into a speculative exploration of what it means to transcend human limitations. Lucy's exposure to CPH4 allows her to enhance her cognitive and physical abilities incrementally. Initially, she develops enhanced reflexes, strength, and spatial awareness, quickly surpassing normal human capabilities. As her brain capacity utilization approaches 100%, she gains telekinesis, complete control over her own biology, the ability to manipulate digital information, and ultimately experiences a form of omnipresence that challenges the very notion of individuality. The film culminates in a metaphysical resolution in which Lucy's consciousness effectively merges with the universe, leaving behind only the wisdom and insights she acquired in a manner that is both literal and symbolic, emphasizing the narrative's philosophical leanings toward transcendence, interconnectedness, and the ultimate potential of consciousness. Lucy was released worldwide on July 25, 2014, and achieved significant commercial success, grossing over $460 million globally. The reception was mixed critically. Many praised the film's visual innovation and Johansson's performance while others criticized the scientific liberties taken with the central premise. Nonetheless, Lucy left a lasting impression due to its ambition and the open-ended nature of its finale, which has served as fertile ground for speculation and fan imagination regarding the possibility of a sequel. This brings us to the enduring rumors and speculative discussions surrounding Lucy 2. Despite the popularity of the original film, Luc Besson himself has repeatedly stated that a direct sequel is not in active development. Nevertheless, the concept of a continuation of Lucy's story has circulated widely across online forums, fan sites, and social media. These discussions imagine a narrative in which Lucy, now fully transcendent and existing beyond physical form, engages with new threats to humanity, perhaps in the form of rogue artificial intelligences, evolving human technologies, or other superhuman entities. The speculative plotlines often explore themes of morality, consciousness, and the responsibility that comes with extraordinary power, envisioning Lucy as both a guide and a guardian of humanity's evolution. Rumors suggest potential returns of original cast members, particularly Scarlett Johansson reprising her role either as a physical manifestation of Lucy or as a consciousness interacting with humans through intermediaries. Other speculative casting mentions include actors like Morgan Freeman and Jason Statham, though these remain entirely unverified and likely arise from fan-created narratives or online speculation rather than official sources. Thematically, fans have imagined that the sequel would delve deeper into philosophical questions. What does it mean to exist as a pure consciousness? How does one reconcile omnipotence with human empathy? Could Lucy's intelligence be a force for creation, destruction, or both? These speculative ideas reflect broader societal fascinations with artificial intelligence, posthumanism, and the consequences of unlocking latent human potential. Various online sources have circulated trailers and promotional material purportedly representing Lucy 2, yet these are overwhelmingly fan-made, AI-generated, or otherwise unofficial. They often utilize clips from the original film, combined with CGI or cinematic editing, to simulate what a sequel might look like. It is important to note that no verified trailer has been released by any studio, and no production schedule, filming confirmation, or marketing campaign has been announced, meaning that the actual existence of Lucy 2 remains purely in the realm of speculation. The fan-created narratives surrounding Lucy 2 often position the film in a context where Lucy must confront threats arising from the very technologies and scientific innovations that facilitated her transformation. Speculative plotlines envision new chemical compounds, cybernetic enhancements, or intelligent machines challenging her understanding of existence. In these imagined scenarios, Lucy operates not only with enhanced physical and cognitive abilities but also with an unprecedented ethical and metaphysical insight into the universe. Such narratives frequently depict her engaging with human institutions, governments, or underground organizations, navigating complex social, political, and existential challenges that mirror contemporary anxieties about the future of science and consciousness. The potential for storytelling in this speculative sequel is extensive precisely because the first film left its ending ambiguous. Lucy's final transformation into omnipresence opens limitless narrative possibilities. However, it is critical to remember that all such expansions are entirely speculative and not sanctioned by Luc Besson, EuropaCorp, or any associated production entities. The discussion of Lucy 2 also highlights a broader cultural phenomenon in which audiences attempt to continue stories and explore alternate narratives through fan fiction, social media speculation, and online forums. In the case of Lucy, the allure of a sequel lies in the combination of philosophical intrigue, action-oriented spectacle, and the unresolved nature of her transformation. Fans have envisioned elaborate scenarios in which Lucy interacts with digital consciousnesses, influences global events, and engages with existential dilemmas that challenge both her humanity and her transcendence. These fan-driven narratives demonstrate the enduring fascination with the concepts introduced in the original film, including the potential of human consciousness, the limits of biological and technological evolution, and the ethical responsibilities of extraordinary power. In terms of narrative structure, the speculative content surrounding Lucy 2 often mirrors the pacing and visual style of the first film, emphasizing kinetic action sequences, rapid shifts between physical and metaphysical planes, and complex visual metaphors that convey Lucy's evolving consciousness. Online discussion threads speculate that advanced CGI, innovative editing techniques, and a combination of practical and digital effects would be utilized to represent Lucy's omnipresent abilities, her manipulation of matter and energy, and her engagement with abstract phenomena such as time, memory, and universal interconnectedness. The proposed sequel narrative suggests a continued emphasis on philosophical exposition, although fans anticipate a broader integration of action-oriented plotlines and potential antagonistic forces that challenge Lucy's moral and intellectual capacities. Throughout all of this, the status of Lucy 2 remains speculative, and responsible reporting emphasizes the distinction between confirmed information and fan-generated content. Verified facts pertain only to the original Lucy, 2014, including its plot, production, cast, release date, and critical reception. Everything related to a potential sequel, including plot summaries, cast speculation, trailers, and release dates, exists in the realm of online rumor and imaginative extension. Nevertheless, the ongoing discussion of Lucy 2 highlights the lasting impact of the original film and its capacity to inspire continued engagement, debate, and creative interpretation. In summary, Lucy, 2014, stands as a culturally significant science fiction action thriller that combines spectacular visuals, philosophical speculation, and an unconventional narrative trajectory. It is a film that invites viewers to consider the potential of human consciousness while delivering the thrills of action cinema. The sequel, Lucy 2, while widely discussed online, remains unconfirmed and exists primarily in the collective imagination of fans who seek to explore the implications of Lucy's final transformation. This duality, between the verified original and the speculative sequel, illustrates the interplay between media, audience engagement, and the creative expansion of narrative worlds beyond their original boundaries. It serves as a case study in how popular culture generates and sustains interest in hypothetical continuations, demonstrating both the power of narrative imagination and the enduring fascination with questions about consciousness, evolution, and human potential. The 2014 science fiction action film Lucy, directed and written by Luc Besson, represents a striking confluence of high-octane cinematic spectacle and philosophical inquiry into human potential. At its core, the film explores the age-old myth that humans use only a fraction of their brain capacity, extrapolating this concept into a narrative that fuses action, science fiction, and metaphysical speculation. Scarlett Johansson stars as Lucy, a young woman whose ordinary existence is abruptly disrupted when she becomes an unwitting participant in a dangerous drug trafficking operation. Her ordinary life in Taipei is transformed into a harrowing journey that transcends the physical and cognitive limits of human experience. The film's premise, while fantastical, is grounded in a provocative question: what would happen if a human could access and utilize 100% of their cerebral potential? This question serves as both the narrative engine and the thematic nucleus of the film, propelling Lucy through a series of increasingly surreal and intellectually challenging scenarios. From the outset, Lucy's character is portrayed with a sense of ordinariness, making her eventual transformation all the more dramatic. She is a student, living a life of relative normalcy, whose encounter with a mysterious and powerful synthetic drug initiates a process of cognitive and physiological evolution. The drug, referred to as CPH4, is smuggled into her body, and its properties catalyze an unprecedented expansion of her brain capacity. As the chemical interacts with her neural system, Lucy begins to experience abilities far beyond the scope of ordinary human cognition: enhanced memory, accelerated learning, telekinesis, heightened perception, and even control over her own cellular processes. The progression of Lucy's abilities is gradual but relentless, allowing the audience to witness the transformation of a single human being into a near-omnipotent entity capable of influencing the world on a molecular and even universal scale. Luc Besson's direction emphasizes both the physical and intellectual evolution of Lucy, utilizing rapid editing, CGI effects, and innovative cinematography to externalize the abstract concept of cerebral expansion in a visually compelling manner. The plot structure of Lucy follows a linear trajectory but is punctuated with increasingly abstract sequences that illustrate the extent of her transformation. After the accidental ingestion of the drug, Lucy is forced into confrontations with a network of criminals who wish to exploit her newfound abilities for profit. These confrontations serve both as narrative tension and as a device to demonstrate the practical applications of her cognitive evolution. Early sequences depict Lucy's growing awareness of her surroundings, her ability to manipulate matter, and her capacity to anticipate and outmaneuver her adversaries. As the story unfolds, the narrative shifts from a grounded action film to a philosophical meditation on the nature of consciousness, mortality, and the limits of human understanding. The film challenges viewers to contemplate the potential of the human mind, the ethical implications of absolute knowledge, and the ultimate fate of beings who transcend their biological limitations. These thematic considerations elevate Lucy beyond conventional action fare, inviting reflection on questions that have preoccupied philosophers and scientists for centuries. In tandem with its plot, the film's casting choices contribute significantly to its impact. Scarlett Johansson's performance is central to the film's success, as she embodies both the vulnerability of an ordinary individual and the commanding presence of a near-godlike entity. Her ability to convey a range of emotional and intellectual states lends credibility to a narrative that might otherwise risk becoming fantastical to the point of implausibility. Supporting actors, including Morgan Freeman as Professor Norman, provide grounding in the scientific context of the story, offering exposition on neuroscience, pharmacology, and theoretical physics. Freeman's character serves as both mentor and narrative foil, helping the audience navigate the increasingly complex scientific and philosophical terrain that Lucy's evolution introduces. Other cast members, including Amr Waked as Mr. Jang, portray the criminal elements that drive the initial conflict, their presence emphasizing the stark contrast between ordinary human motives and Lucy's emerging omniscience. The production of Lucy reflects Luc Besson's distinctive cinematic style, which combines kinetic action sequences with elaborate visual storytelling. Filming locations span multiple countries, including Taiwan, France, and Hong Kong, each providing a visually rich backdrop for the unfolding narrative. The cinematography employs a mix of naturalistic and hyper-stylized techniques to emphasize the contrast between Lucy's human origins and her extraordinary capabilities. CGI and visual effects play a pivotal role, particularly in sequences where Lucy manipulates objects, accelerates perception, or interfaces with electronic systems. These effects are not merely decorative but serve as a visual language for representing cognitive phenomena that are inherently abstract and difficult to depict on screen. The musical score complements the visual and narrative elements, blending contemporary electronic motifs with orchestral arrangements to underscore both the urgency of the plot and the transcendental nature of Lucy's transformation. The scientific premise of the film, while speculative, draws upon real-world neuroscience and pharmacology, though it exaggerates and fictionalizes these disciplines for dramatic effect. CPH4, the drug at the center of the plot, is a real chemical produced in trace amounts in human fetuses to facilitate development, but its portrayal as a compound capable of unlocking the full potential of the adult human brain is entirely fictional. Nonetheless, the film's engagement with scientific concepts encourages audiences to consider questions about cognition, neural plasticity, and the potential for human enhancement. These ideas resonate with broader cultural fascinations with self-improvement, technological augmentation, and the boundaries of human capability. By situating a narrative about extraordinary human potential within a familiar action thriller framework, Lucy invites viewers to experience both adrenaline-driven spectacle and intellectual stimulation, bridging the gap between entertainment and philosophical inquiry. Building upon the speculative foundations, the imagined narrative of Lucy 2 extends beyond conventional boundaries of human experience and cinematic storytelling. In the conceptual universe envisioned by fans, Lucy's transformation into omnipresence challenges the traditional constructs of narrative conflict, heroism, and ethical choice. Unlike conventional action films where stakes are tangible and immediate, the speculative sequel elevates the conflict to the existential plane, the balance between omniscience and moral responsibility, the navigation of temporal and spatial dimensions unconstrained by human limitations, and the interaction with entities whose intelligence may rival or surpass even Lucy's heightened cognition. In such fan-driven constructs, Lucy's journey is not merely a physical struggle but a profound engagement with the metaphysical implications of existence itself. She becomes both protagonist and observer, simultaneously shaping events and witnessing their unfolding in nonlinear temporal sequences, highlighting the narrative ambition of portraying a consciousness that transcends conventional perception. This complexity is central to the fascination with a sequel, as it allows creators, theorists, and fans to explore the boundaries of narrative possibility and philosophical inquiry. In these imaginative extensions, the plot of Lucy 2 often incorporates advanced technologies and hypothetical scientific developments. CPH4, the synthetic compound central to Lucy's initial evolution, serves as a narrative touchstone, but the sequel's speculative frameworks envision newer, more sophisticated compounds, cybernetic enhancements, and artificial intelligence systems that both complement and challenge Lucy's abilities. Hypothetical antagonists are frequently depicted as rogue AI constructs, genetically enhanced humans, or clandestine organizations seeking to harness superhuman capabilities for control or dominance. These narrative elements offer a fertile ground for exploring ethical dilemmas. If one possesses omniscience or unlimited cognitive capacity, what is the moral obligation to intervene? How does one reconcile the potential to influence global events with the respect for human autonomy? Fan discussions online often speculate that Lucy may choose to intervene indirectly, guiding human societies via subtle manipulations or through intermediaries, emphasizing themes of stewardship and the ethical deployment of power. The visual and stylistic expectations for Lucy 2 in these fan-based constructs also expand upon the foundation established by the original film. Luc Besson's direction in Lucy employed a kinetic editing style, rapid montage sequences, and digitally enhanced visuals to portray the incremental unlocking of human potential. In the speculative sequel, these techniques are imagined to evolve further, incorporating sophisticated CGI, augmented reality-inspired sequences, and abstract visual metaphors to represent Lucy's transcendent cognition. For example, fans envision sequences in which Lucy perceives information at scales ranging from the molecular to the cosmic, simultaneously interacting with human thought processes, digital networks, and universal patterns of energy and matter. These visualizations are intended to convey the breadth of her abilities and the profound implications of near-limitless intelligence, while maintaining narrative engagement through familiar action-driven sequences and conflict resolution dynamics. The philosophical dimension of a hypothetical Lucy 2 remains central to fan speculation. Whereas the original film introduced audiences to questions of cognitive potential, memory, and the perception of time, the sequel's imagined narrative expands these explorations into domains traditionally reserved for metaphysics, epistemology, and existential philosophy. Fans have speculated that Lucy's omnipresence could allow her to perceive multiple timelines simultaneously, interact with alternate realities, and comprehend the consequences of human actions on scales that are imperceptible to ordinary consciousness. In this context, narrative tension arises not from physical danger alone but from ethical and metaphysical dilemmas, for instance, whether intervening in human affairs constitutes a benevolent act or a form of hubris, and whether the acquisition of ultimate knowledge leads to enlightenment, detachment, or unforeseen consequences. The imagined sequel thus functions as both an action film and a speculative meditation on the nature of consciousness, intelligence, and the human condition. Fan-created plots often introduce secondary characters designed to challenge Lucy's evolving consciousness. Speculative scenarios include brilliant scientists, rogue AI, or morally ambiguous humans who possess partial access to the same cognitive enhancements Lucy experienced in the first film. These antagonists provide narrative friction and philosophical contrast, enabling a dramatization of the tension between knowledge and morality, power and responsibility. In some fan narratives, these characters operate within global organizations, secret research facilities, or cybernetic networks that test Lucy's strategic and ethical capacities, allowing her abilities to be explored in dynamic and multidimensional contexts. The interactions between Lucy and these entities provide a rich canvas for exploring not only action-driven storylines but also the implications of advanced intelligence and omnipresence on relational, societal, and cosmic levels. The cultural fascination with a potential Lucy 2 underscores the human desire to explore narratives that transcend conventional limitations. Fans are drawn to the speculative possibilities because the original film's ending leaves ample interpretive space. Lucy becomes a being of pure knowledge, her physical existence ceasing, yet her consciousness integrating with the universe. This unresolved conclusion invites questions about identity, continuity, and the evolution of human potential. Discussions across online forums, social media, and speculative fiction communities reveal a deep engagement with these ideas, demonstrating that the narrative power of Lucy extends far beyond the confines of its initial release. These discussions often extend to broader considerations of science, ethics, and futurism, reflecting societal curiosity about the limits of human cognition, the ethical deployment of advanced technology, and the consequences of radical evolutionary changes. In addition to narrative speculation, the imagined sequel is frequently contextualized within broader cinematic trends. Science fiction films exploring enhanced cognition, artificial intelligence, and transhumanist themes have gained prominence in the 21st century, and Lucy 2 is often positioned hypothetically within this continuum. Comparisons are drawn to films such as Transcendence, Her, and Ghost in the Shell, where the interface between human consciousness and technology serves as a central thematic concern. The speculative sequel thus becomes not only an extension of a beloved narrative but also a potential vehicle for engaging with contemporary philosophical and technological anxieties, allowing fans and theorists to imagine how a character of Lucy's caliber might interact with a rapidly changing global landscape. Another significant element in fan speculation concerns the potential visual and musical motifs that would define the sequel. Given the original film's use of electronic and ambient soundscapes to underscore the transformation of cognition, fans imagine the sequel employing increasingly sophisticated auditory design, incorporating sounds that evoke cerebral expansion, spatial awareness, and cosmic connectivity. Visually, sequences depicting Lucy's interaction with digital, molecular, and cosmic layers of reality are theorized to combine hyperreal CGI, abstract animation, and experimental cinematography, creating a sensorial experience that mirrors her transcendent state. Such creative speculation illustrates the interplay between fan imagination and cinematic expectation, where audiences project possibilities that extend and reinterpret the original aesthetic language of the film. As this narrative continues to expand, it is crucial to reiterate that all descriptions of Lucy 2 remain speculative. Luc Besson and EuropaCorp have made no official announcements regarding production, casting, or release schedules. The vast majority of trailers, plot summaries, and casting rumors circulating online are generated by fans or digital content creators seeking to imagine what a sequel might entail. Nevertheless, this extensive imaginative exercise highlights the enduring cultural and intellectual impact of Lucy as a film and demonstrates the human propensity to engage deeply with stories that challenge conventional boundaries of reality, cognition, and identity. The idea of a sequel to the 2014 sci-fi action film Lucy has swirled around the internet for many years, but it is important to begin with the fundamental fact that, as of now, there is no officially announced film titled Lucy 2 backed by a major studio, with confirmed cast, plot details, or an official release date. The 2014 film Lucy was a standalone project directed by Luc Besson and starring Scarlett Johansson as the title character, a woman who gains increasingly powerful mental capacities after a synthetic drug inadvertently enters her system. The film's unique ending, in which Lucy transcends her physical body and seemingly becomes a form of universal consciousness, naturally complicates the idea of a traditional sequel, since the protagonist's physical existence appears to have ended by the conclusion of the first movie. Although Lucy was a worldwide theatrical success grossing hundreds of millions of dollars on a relatively modest budget, the official status of any follow-up has been murky and largely speculative. In interviews around the time of the original movie's release, director Luc Besson stated that he did not see an obvious path to a sequel, explaining that the first film was written to be complete in itself and that he did not know how a sequel could work unless a compelling story presented itself. Besson emphasized that Lucy was not made for that, indicating his uncertainty about a continuation at that stage. Despite this, over the years there have been multiple reports and discussions suggesting that a sequel might be possible. In the mid-2010s, entertainment news outlets reported that Besson's production company, EuropaCorp, had plans to develop Lucy 2 and that Besson might be working on a script, suggesting that a sequel could be on the horizon following the success of the first film. These reports were rooted in comments from industry figures and internal studio announcements, but they were never substantiated with final confirmation of actual production or release plans. However, those reports were met with strong contradiction from Besson himself. In a notable instance in 2017, after widespread coverage that Lucy 2 was in development and that a script had been completed, Luc Besson took to social media to deny the claims. He publicly insisted that he was not preparing a sequel neither yesterday nor tomorrow, and criticized the reporting as misinformation. His comments made clear that despite industry chatter and rumors, there was no active sequel project under his direction at that time. The difficulty in generating a believable sequel narrative, as noted by Besson and others, lies in the ending of the original Lucy film. The story concludes with Lucy's consciousness being digitized and disseminated as an omnipresent force, effectively removing her from the physical world. This creative decision made it challenging for writers to conceive a sequel that could logically follow from the original without undermining its bold conclusion. While sequels in Hollywood often return to familiar characters or worlds regardless of how the previous films ended, the unique nature of Lucy's transformation has contributed to the long absence of any formal sequel development. In recent years, fans have continued to speculate and generate their own Lucy 2 content online, including fan-made trailers, artwork, and imagined plot summaries. Some of these creations, often published on video platforms, have used AI tools or edited footage from the first movie to create convincing but entirely unofficial trailers that claim to depict Lucy 2. For example, a viral video circulating in 2025 claimed to be a Lucy 2 trailer featuring Scarlett Johansson and Morgan Freeman, with an apparent release date and plot synopsis. However, such videos are not official productions and are created for entertainment or fan speculation, not as authentic studio marketing. These fan efforts frequently gain significant views, especially when paired with popular search terms, but they should not be taken as evidence of an actual film in production. Industry reporting and follow ups on the topic of a sequel have been sporadic over the years, with occasional headlines suggesting that development is underway or that actors or creators might return. Yet none of these reports have been confirmed by studios like Universal Pictures or EuropaCorp with official press releases, casting announcements, or production timelines. In fact, some credible entertainment news coverage has reiterated that a sequel remains unconfirmed and that the director has indicated the original film was crafted to be a self-contained story. Beyond the direct question of Lucy 2, there has also been interest in expanding the universe of Lucy through other media. In 2022, reports emerged that a spin-off television series centered around Morgan Freeman's character, Professor Norman, a scientist involved in the original film's exploration of cognitive enhancement, was in development with EuropaCorp and Village Roadshow producing. This project, distinct from a direct sequel, could potentially explore the thematic universe introduced by Lucy without requiring the main character to return in human form. Whether that series progresses into full production and release remains uncertain at this time. The enduring online interest in Lucy 2 underscores how deeply audiences were engaged by the first film's high-concept blend of science fiction, action, and speculative ideas about human potential. Even years after its debut, fans continue to discuss, remix, and imagine new narratives that pick up where Lucy left off, often proposing original storylines involving new threats, advanced consciousness evolution, or the ethical implications of superintelligence. These fan interpretations reflect the creative license and enthusiasm shared by enthusiasts of the genre, but they are not substitutes for formally announced productions from studios. In summary, while there have been rumors, speculative reports, and fan-created materials suggesting Lucy 2 might exist or someday be made, as of late 2025 there is no official sequel that has been confirmed by a film studio, with recognized cast, written script in official production, director attachment, or a scheduled release date. The idea remains in the realm of rumor and speculation, supported by occasional industry chatter but never solidified into a real project. Any trailers or updates circulating online should be viewed with caution, as they often represent creative fan content rather than sanctioned marketing from the rights-holding studio. The most reliable way to stay informed about any future developments, including a potential official announcement of Lucy 2, would be to follow verified news from the filmmakers, the production company, and reputable entertainment news outlets. The question of Lucy 2 has circulated for years among fans of the science fiction action film Lucy that was released in 2014, directed and written by Luc Besson and starring Scarlett Johansson and Morgan Freeman. The original Lucy was a French-produced English-language film that became a global sleeper hit, grossing over $469 million worldwide on a relatively modest $40 million budget. It told a high-concept story about a young woman named Lucy who accidentally becomes a drug mule for a powerful synthetic substance called CPH4, which, once released into her bloodstream, grants her superhuman abilities. Over the course of the film she develops enhanced physical reflexes, telepathy, telekinesis, and even the ability to transcend time and space. The film's ending was deliberately metaphysical. Lucy reaches what is described in the film as 100% brain capacity, a fictionalized and exaggerated interpretation of a myth about human brain use, and eventually transcends her physical form, becoming an omnipresent non-corporeal intelligence. The ending made her literally disappear from the physical plane of existence and deliver, in effect, the sum of human knowledge to Professor Norman and to the world, leaving behind a USB drive containing her accumulated knowledge. Because the story concluded with Lucy's physical form gone and her consciousness integrated with the universe, it left little obvious narrative ground for a traditional sequel in the way that other action movies often do. Almost immediately after Lucy became a hit, entertainment news sources and fan sites began speculating about the possibility of a sequel. The original director Luc Besson himself, during press tours for the first film in 2014, was quoted as saying that he did not see how a sequel could be made, given the way the story ended. He suggested that while the film's success might justify further exploration of the concepts, he personally was not thinking about or committed to a follow-up movie. Over the years thereafter, various reports and rumors emerged about Lucy 2 or a continuation of the Lucy universe. Some of these were based on interviews and old announcements where development was mentioned, while others were based on speculation or outright fan creation. For example, at one point there were reports claiming that Besson had turned in a script for a sequel and that EuropaCorp was planning to develop it. However, Besson himself publicly denied that he was preparing Lucy 2 at any time, calling reports of its development fake news and expressing frustration at being quoted about projects he was not actually working on. He denied working on a sequel both in statements reported by major outlets and on his social media, making clear that, as of those statements, he was not actively making Lucy 2 and had no current plans to do so. Adding to the confusion, there have been conflicting reports. Some fan and movie rumor sites have claimed, sometimes citing secondary sources, that a sequel or at least development work is ongoing, driven by the success of the original film and the potential to turn it into a franchise. There are mentions on some movie news sites of EuropaCorp having listed a Lucy 2 among potential future titles, though details are sparse and verification is lacking from authoritative industry reporting. Some of these older rumors also noted that Lucy made enough money at the box office that a sequel could logically be considered by producers. But none of these rumored developments have been confirmed by official press releases from studios, nor have they resulted in a publicly announced production schedule, cast list, or release date. Complicating matters further, there is an abundance of content online that impersonates or appropriates the Lucy brand. There are numerous Lucy 2 full movie pages, particularly in other languages or on unauthorized streaming sites, that claim to offer the sequel for viewing, often in dubbed versions like Hindi or other languages, but these are almost universally fake. Many such sites are either clickbait that direct users to download unsafe apps, demand email information, or are mislabeled videos that are not the film in question. YouTube and other video platforms also host fan-made trailers for Lucy 2, some of which use AI-generated imagery or edited clips from the original Lucy movie to create a sort of speculative teaser. These can look surprisingly polished and have attracted hundreds of thousands of views, contributing to the widespread perception among fans that Lucy 2 is real and imminent. However, analysis of such trailers shows that they are not official studio content and that creative channels specialize in fan-made concept trailers for hypothetical movies that do not actually exist. Because of the lack of official information, any description of Lucy 2's plot, cast, or release schedule that appears on many rumor sites should be treated with caution. In reality, there is no officially published synopsis from a studio, no authoritative cast announcement, and no scheduled release date in cinema calendars. Reports that suggest specific plot points, returning actors like Scarlett Johansson, or even new story arcs are speculative at best. The only concrete continuation from the Lucy universe that has been mentioned in credible industry reports is a possible spin-off series centered on Morgan Freeman's character, Professor Norman, exploring the scientific and philosophical themes introduced in the first film, but this project remains in an early or speculative stage and no release schedule or production details have been finalized. Understanding this context is essential. The Lucy movie exists as a standalone narrative with a clear ending, and while it sparked fan interest in a sequel, the entertainment industry has not moved forward with a confirmed sequel film. Instead, what audiences often encounter online are unofficial pieces of content that mix speculation, creative fan work, deliberate misinformation, or recycled news from years ago without proper context. The prevalence of these materials can make it seem as though Lucy 2 is just around the corner, but the authoritative statements from the original filmmaker are the strongest evidence we have that there is no sequel in active production or with a confirmed release. For fans wanting to understand Lucy and why a sequel would be challenging from a narrative perspective, the ending of the first film essentially wipes the slate clean. Lucy's transformation into a non-physical omniscient entity means the core character no longer exists in a form that easily fits within standard action narrative structures. Unlike superhero or franchise films that leave space and time endings intentionally open, Lucy's finale was designed to be conclusive in terms of Lucy's journey and character arc. From a storytelling standpoint, a sequel would either have to undo or significantly rework that ending or shift focus to other characters or a different interpretation of the Lucy concept. For example, the idea of continuing through the character of Professor Norman, exploring how humanity changes in response to Lucy's legacy, has been floated, but nothing has been committed to production in a way that has generated an official release announcement. In summary, despite years of rumor and fan enthusiasm, Lucy 2 remains unconfirmed as an actual movie, and there is no officially released plot, cast list, release date, trailer, or confirmed production schedule. Statements from Luc Besson make it clear that he has denied working on a sequel, even as some older industry rumors suggested development at various times. At the moment, the most accurate description of Lucy 2 is that it is a concept beloved by fans and widely speculated about online, but not an actual film that has been announced for release by any legitimate film studio or distribution company. That means any materials claiming to be the full movie, trailers, or detailed casting information should be treated as rumor or fan fiction unless they come directly from the filmmakers or major entertainment news outlets. As Lucy's transformation accelerates, the film increasingly shifts from a conventional action narrative to a meditation on the metaphysical implications of absolute knowledge. Her ability to access an ever-expanding fraction of her brain capacity allows her to perceive time, space, and matter in ways that are incomprehensible to ordinary humans. Scenes depicting her manipulation of the environment, instantaneous acquisition of information, and the physical effects of her cognitive expansion serve as visual metaphors for the transcendence of human limitations. Besson utilizes a combination of slow-motion cinematography, split-screen sequences, and dynamic camera angles to communicate the simultaneous expansion of Lucy's mental and perceptual abilities. Each sequence is meticulously crafted to ensure that the audience experiences a sense of awe and disorientation analogous to Lucy's own awakening. The juxtaposition of action and philosophy is one of the film's most compelling elements, allowing viewers to engage with both the spectacle of superhuman abilities and the existential questions they provoke. The narrative also explores the psychological and ethical dimensions of Lucy's evolution. As she gains unprecedented control over her body and mind, Lucy begins to lose the qualities that define ordinary human existence: emotional attachment, vulnerability, and social interconnectedness. Her interactions with other characters, initially grounded in tension and conflict, gradually become detached and analytical. The film poses challenging questions about the cost of knowledge and the implications of transcending human limitations. Does access to infinite information and cognitive power come at the expense of identity and humanity? Lucy's trajectory suggests that extraordinary capabilities are accompanied by isolation, a theme that resonates with broader philosophical debates about the relationship between intelligence, morality, and human experience. By framing these questions within a fast-paced action context, Besson ensures that they are both intellectually stimulating and emotionally resonant. Lucy's physical evolution is equally important to the narrative. Her control over molecular processes allows her to heal rapidly, manipulate her own biological functions, and interact with the environment in ways that defy conventional understanding. The film frequently employs visual effects to externalize these abilities, presenting a tangible representation of abstract scientific concepts. From altering the kinetic energy of objects to influencing electronic systems remotely, Lucy's powers blur the line between the physical and the metaphysical. These sequences not only serve as thrilling set pieces but also reinforce the central theme of human potential expanded beyond natural constraints. The cinematic techniques employed in these scenes, including motion capture, CGI, and precise editing, create an immersive experience that communicates both the grandeur and the alienation of extreme cognitive evolution. The original Lucy also engages with contemporary discussions about technology, artificial intelligence, and the future of human evolution. While the narrative is grounded in a fictional chemical compound, it parallels real-world debates about cognitive enhancement, neurotechnology, and the ethical boundaries of scientific experimentation. Lucy's journey raises questions about the consequences of surpassing natural limits, the role of ethics in scientific progress, and the potential for humans to evolve beyond their current capabilities. By situating these issues within a visually spectacular and emotionally compelling narrative, the film achieves a rare balance between entertainment and philosophical inquiry. Viewers are invited to reflect on the implications of intelligence, power, and the future of human consciousness, making Lucy both a culturally significant and intellectually provocative work. Cinematically, the film draws upon Besson's signature stylistic elements, blending kinetic action with surreal visual sequences. The pacing of the film is deliberately designed to mirror Lucy's cognitive acceleration. Early sequences are grounded, deliberate, and observational, while later sequences are rapid, disorienting, and visually complex. This progression effectively conveys the increasing scope of Lucy's abilities and the corresponding transformation of her perception of reality. The editing style, in particular, reinforces the thematic content, using rapid cuts to communicate the simultaneity of multiple streams of information, the compression of time, and the acceleration of thought processes. Music and sound design further enhance the sensory experience, providing an auditory counterpart to Lucy's expanding awareness and reinforcing the tension, urgency, and grandeur of her journey. In exploring the character development of Lucy, the film examines the tension between human vulnerability and superhuman capability. Initially, Lucy is a relatable, vulnerable individual, subject to the whims of fate and circumstance. Her subsequent evolution challenges traditional notions of heroism, as her abilities render her simultaneously omnipotent and isolated. The film probes the emotional consequences of surpassing human limits, suggesting that ultimate knowledge and power may come at the cost of personal connection and emotional fulfillment. This thematic tension is reinforced through interactions with other characters, particularly Professor Norman, who embodies the human desire to understand and contextualize extraordinary phenomena. Their dialogue provides both exposition and philosophical insight, grounding Lucy's journey in questions of morality, purpose, and the nature of existence itself. The cultural impact of Lucy extends beyond its narrative content. The film has sparked widespread discussion about neuroscience, cognitive enhancement, and the ethical dimensions of human evolution. While the scientific premise is exaggerated for dramatic effect, it has inspired popular interest in brain function, human potential, and the limits of cognitive capacity. Academic and media discourse surrounding the film often explores the balance between scientific plausibility and narrative license, examining how science fiction can illuminate complex philosophical and ethical questions. Lucy's character has become emblematic of the intersection between human aspiration and technological possibility, serving as a cultural touchstone for discussions about intelligence, power, and the potential for future human evolution. When people talk about Lucy 2 today, what they are really talking about is the legacy and impact of a single movie released over a decade ago called Lucy. That original film was released in 2014 and was directed and written by French filmmaker Luc Besson, a director known for stylized action and science fiction films. Lucy starred Scarlett Johansson in the title role as a young woman who gets caught up in dangerous circumstances in Taipei and is forced to become an unwilling drug courier. In that film, she is implanted with a new synthetic compound called CPH4, which is a fictional drug that dramatically enhances her mental and physical capabilities when it bursts inside her system. As the story unfolds, Lucy's brain capacity begins to expand beyond normal limitations, granting her abilities such as telekinesis, telepathy, control over matter and energy, and eventually near-omnipotent awareness and power. The film blends high-octane action with speculative science fiction, taking viewers on a journey from gritty street violence to metaphysical concepts of human evolution and consciousness. Lucy was both a commercial success and a polarizing work. It grossed hundreds of millions of dollars worldwide against a modest budget and became one of the most talked about original sci-fi films of the mid-2010s, even as critics and audiences debated its scientific plausibility and narrative logic. Because of that impact and enduring discussion among fans, many people have wondered whether Lucy 2 might be made. That speculation has taken many forms over the years. For some, Lucy 2 has been imagined as a natural continuation of the first movie's ideas. What happens after a human being transcends physical form and becomes pure intelligence or consciousness? Others have speculated about potential sequels that focus on other characters, or that explore the broader implications of the CPH4 compound and how it might affect society or the world at large. Yet despite those ideas and the buzz around them, there is a crucial foundation of truth that must be understood. Lucy 2 as an official, studio-backed movie does not currently exist. There has never been a confirmed Lucy 2 released in theaters or announced with an official release date from Universal Pictures or the film's original creators. The project has not been filmed, it has not been distributed, and there is no authentic Lucy 2 trailer released by the studio. Hyperbolic clickbait sites and fan channels sometimes claim that a sequel is complete or imminent, but those trailers and announcements are often fan-made or speculative in nature, blending visuals from the original film with edited content that is not part of any real sequel. The truth about the sequel's status has been confirmed by repeated statements from Luc Besson himself. In interviews and public posts, Besson has made it clear that he is not preparing a Lucy 2 either now or in the future, dismissing reports that a sequel was in development and calling some of those reports fake news. Those denials came after initial statements from his own studio leadership suggested a sequel might be in development, and Besson openly criticized journalists for spreading misinformation about it. On social media, he stated plainly that he was not working on Lucy 2, neither in the past nor in the future, contradicting earlier speculation about scripts or possible development. The ending of the original Lucy film itself complicates the idea of a direct sequel. At the end of the 2014 movie, Lucy's evolution has reached such an extreme point that she transcends her physical body entirely. She becomes a form of pure consciousness that uploads herself into the digital networks of the world and eventually becomes humanity's collective knowledge in a way that defies traditional narrative continuity. Given that dramatic and final ending, creating a sequel that continues Lucy's personal story in a straightforward way has always presented a creative challenge. Even Besson acknowledged in earlier interviews that he could not easily see how to craft a sequel, stating that because the film ended definitively, it was difficult to imagine a subsequent chapter that would retain the same emotional and thematic stakes. Despite Besson's comments and the lack of any official production, rumors and fan interest have persisted. Across social media and video platforms, people often share edited trailers or speculative plot summaries claiming to preview Lucy 2. These videos can be very convincing at first glance because they use striking visuals, intense music, and even clips from the original movie, but they are not official productions. Many of these so-called trailers are created by fan channels that specialize in conceptual teasers, using artificial intelligence tools and creative editing to imagine a sequel that does not actually exist. Such trailers sometimes depict Scarlett Johansson reprising her role or new cast members joining, but those portrayals are entirely fabricated and are not associated with Universal Pictures or Luc Besson's production team. The prevalence of these fake trailers contributes to a cycle in which audiences become convinced that a sequel is real or imminent when, in fact, it remains purely hypothetical. For example, a viral trailer circulating in 2025 that claimed to show Lucy 2 with Johansson returning was analyzed and found to be a fan-made creation that mixed original footage with AI-generated imagery. There is currently no verified evidence that Scarlett Johansson will appear in a sequel or that any sequel script involving her character is signed, sealed, or in production. Part of the reason this matter has remained in conversation is the enduring popularity of the original movie and its provocative central concept. The idea of unlocking hidden potential in the human brain has long been a theme in science fiction, even though the real-world scientific basis for the myth that humans only use a small percentage of their brain capacity has been debunked by neuroscientists. In the narrative of Lucy, that concept is exaggerated for dramatic effect, allowing the story to explore extraordinary abilities such as time manipulation, telekinesis, and transcendence of physical form. Even as viewers debate the scientific accuracy of those ideas, the film's unique blend of action and philosophical speculation captured the imagination of a broad audience and kept discussions alive years after its release. Reports about potential spin-offs have also surfaced from time to time. In 2022, announcements emerged that a series, not a direct film sequel, was in development that might focus on other aspects of the Lucy universe, possibly involving Morgan Freeman's character, Professor Norman, who served as a sort of scientific anchor and narrator in the original movie. That project appeared to be a spin-off that would expand the universe without directly continuing Lucy's narrative arc, but even that series has not yet materialized into a released production as of 2025. Many fans and commentators have imagined their own potential plots for Lucy 2, speculating on how Lucy's transcendence might impact the world or whether other characters could emerge with similar enhanced abilities. Some ideas imagine humanity dealing with the consequences of Lucy's uploaded knowledge, while others propose new protagonists who encounter the legacy of the CPH4 compound in unexpected ways. These fan theories often draw on the dramatic possibilities of the first film's ending, where Lucy's consciousness becomes part of a global system of information and understanding. Such speculative narratives vary widely in tone and content, with some leaning into metaphysical exploration and others into action-driven conflict. Yet all of these remain creative imaginings rather than outcomes tied to confirmed studio projects, and until a production is officially announced by the rights holders and filmmakers, they remain hypothetical. The enduring discussion around Lucy 2 also reflects a broader trend in modern media culture, where fan engagement, viral social media content, and speculative storytelling blur the lines between what is official and what is imagined. Enthusiastic audiences sometimes latch onto rumors or concept trailers and treat them as authoritative news, even when reputable sources have not confirmed them. This phenomenon is not unique to Lucy. Similar patterns occur with other anticipated sequels and franchise expansions where demand is high but official production details are absent. In the case of Lucy, the combination of a provocative premise, a charismatic lead performance by Johansson, and the passage of years since the original release has sustained curiosity about what might come next, even without concrete developments from the actual filmmakers. It is also important to consider the business aspects of Hollywood filmmaking when discussing a potential sequel. Even though Lucy was financially successful, studios and production companies make decisions about sequels based on a variety of factors: actor availability and contracts, creative direction, audience interest over time, and evolving market conditions. A decade after the original, the landscape of science fiction cinema has changed significantly, with many new franchises and projects competing for attention and investment. Unless stakeholders, including the director, lead actors, and production studio, decide to commit to a sequel with a formal announcement and development plan, Lucy 2 will remain a concept rather than a tangible film project. Ultimately, the conversation about Lucy 2 is a fascinating example of how modern fandom and media speculation evolve. There is no official Lucy 2 movie as of late 2025, no confirmed cast, no verified release date, and no genuine studio trailer. Director Luc Besson has explicitly denied preparing a sequel, and what exists in the public sphere are mostly fan-made videos, speculative rumors, and discussions about what could be possible if a sequel were ever greenlit. That doesn't mean interest in the concept will disappear. On the contrary, the enduring curiosity about what lies beyond the dramatic final moments of Lucy may continue to inspire creative thinking and debate. For now, however, anyone hoping to watch Lucy 2 should be aware that those hopes are based on speculation rather than confirmed production news, and the closest thing to a canonical continuation may be the hypothetical spin-off projects or fan creations that keep the idea alive in the collective imagination. Within the realm of fan imagination, one of the most compelling aspects of a hypothetical Lucy 2 lies in the development of new characters who serve as both foils and companions to Lucy's transcendent consciousness. These imagined figures are often designed to challenge not only her intellect but also her moral reasoning and understanding of human emotions, creating a multidimensional narrative tension that elevates the story beyond a standard action sequel. For example, speculative plots frequently introduce a character who is a brilliant but morally ambiguous scientist. This individual may have access to partial cognitive enhancement technology, mirroring some aspects of Lucy's original abilities, but without her ethical grounding or restraint. In these narratives, the scientist embodies the risks inherent in human ambition untempered by morality, and their interactions with Lucy explore the consequences of advanced intelligence divorced from empathy or ethical oversight. This conflict is often rendered not through physical confrontation alone but through intellectual and metaphysical challenges. The scientist might manipulate information networks, exploit technological vulnerabilities, or create existential dilemmas that test Lucy's judgment in ways that transcend ordinary human experience. Another category of characters envisioned in these fan-driven plots includes rogue artificial intelligences that emerge as central antagonists. These entities are often conceptualized as self-aware digital constructs or networks of intelligence with objectives that conflict with human survival or balance. In such scenarios, Lucy's omniscient abilities allow her to perceive and interact with these digital consciousnesses on multiple levels simultaneously. The narrative tension arises not merely from combat or opposition but from the philosophical and strategic complexities of confronting beings that operate according to entirely different logic and value systems. Fans speculate that Lucy's approach would need to combine human intuition with near-infinite computational reasoning, navigating dilemmas in which outcomes cannot be fully predicted, thus challenging the audience to consider the limits of foresight, control, and morality. In addition to antagonists, the imagined sequel often features new allies who provide narrative counterpoints and opportunities for emotional resonance. These characters may be humans who are capable of perceiving and understanding aspects of Lucy's expanded consciousness, serving as conduits for her intervention in the physical world. Their presence allows for explorations of connection, empathy, and the preservation of human values within a framework dominated by a superintelligent entity. Some fan theories even suggest that Lucy might select multiple human agents in different regions of the world, guiding them subtly to prevent global disasters or to steer technological progress toward ethical outcomes. These allies are often portrayed as highly intelligent, morally grounded, and strategically adept, creating narrative tension and drama as they interpret Lucy's guidance while exercising their own agency, illustrating the delicate balance between influence and autonomy. The narrative architecture of Lucy 2 imagined by fans also emphasizes nonlinear temporal structures, reflecting Lucy's ability to perceive multiple timelines and the consequences of human action across scales that are normally imperceptible. In these speculative plots, events may unfold simultaneously on different levels of reality, physical, digital, and metaphysical, allowing audiences to experience the story in a manner that mirrors Lucy's transcendent perception. Such structures offer opportunities for sophisticated storytelling techniques, including parallel sequences, temporal looping, and dynamic shifts in perspective that challenge conventional cinematic temporality. Fans speculate that these narrative devices would be complemented by visual and auditory cues designed to represent shifts in consciousness and spatial awareness, including layered CGI environments, abstract patterns of information, and auditory landscapes that evoke cognitive expansion. The creative ambition of such a sequel is therefore both conceptual and sensory, aiming to immerse viewers in a portrayal of consciousness that is expansive, fluid, and profoundly transformative. Philosophically, the speculative sequel engages with questions of identity, morality, and the nature of existence. Lucy's omnipresence raises profound ethical considerations. If one can perceive and influence all events, to what extent is one morally obligated to intervene? If every potential outcome can be calculated, how does one navigate the tension between free will and determinism? Fan interpretations often explore the tension between omniscience and ethical restraint, presenting Lucy as a being grappling with the responsibility inherent in her abilities. These imagined dilemmas mirror contemporary concerns in technology and society, including the governance of artificial intelligence, the ethical deployment of powerful scientific innovations, and the broader implications of human enhancement. In essence, the hypothetical Lucy 2 functions as a philosophical meditation on the nature of power, knowledge, and moral responsibility, using the vehicle of science fiction action to probe questions that are increasingly relevant in an era defined by rapid technological advancement. Another area rich with speculative potential involves the scientific and technological framework of the sequel. While the original Lucy relied on the fictional CPH4 compound as a catalyst for cognitive expansion, fan theories often envision a more elaborate scientific ecosystem, incorporating elements such as nanotechnology, quantum computation, brain-computer interfaces, and genetic engineering. These speculative technologies serve both as plot devices and as metaphors for the accelerating complexity of human understanding. For example, nanotechnology might allow Lucy to manipulate matter at a molecular level, while quantum computation could enable her to perceive and process information at scales inaccessible to ordinary cognition. These extensions of the original concept create narrative opportunities for exploring the interplay between human biology, technology, and consciousness, emphasizing the boundaries, and potential transcendence, of human capability. Cinematically, fans imagine that Lucy 2 would employ a visual language that merges hyperrealism with abstract conceptual representation. The original film's kinetic style, characterized by rapid editing, dynamic camera movements, and stylized action sequences, would likely be augmented by layered CGI and experimental cinematography, illustrating Lucy's perception across multiple planes of reality. Hypothetical sequences depict her interacting with digital information streams, manipulating physical matter, and perceiving cosmic structures, creating a visual and narrative experience that transcends conventional storytelling. Sound design in such fan-conceived scenarios would similarly be employed to evoke cognitive expansion, employing electronic textures, layered harmonics, and immersive spatial audio to parallel the protagonist's evolving perception. The integration of these elements demonstrates how the speculative sequel would potentially function not only as a narrative continuation but also as an experimental exploration of audiovisual storytelling. Fan communities also speculate about the narrative pacing and structure of a hypothetical Lucy 2. Whereas the first film progressed from conventional action thriller motifs into metaphysical speculation, the sequel is imagined to balance these elements more evenly, maintaining tension through high-stakes conflicts while simultaneously engaging in philosophical exploration. Hypothetical arcs include strategic interventions in global crises, intellectual confrontations with rival superintelligent entities, and subtle manipulations of human networks to prevent catastrophic outcomes. Each narrative thread serves as both an action-driven sequence and a meditation on larger existential questions, reflecting the ambition and complexity of fan interpretations. These narratives frequently conclude with open-ended or ambiguous resolutions, allowing viewers to contemplate the implications of Lucy's decisions and the limits of knowledge, while preserving the speculative nature of the sequel as a conceptual exercise rather than a confirmed cinematic product. The cultural phenomenon surrounding Lucy 2 underscores the enduring impact of the original film and highlights the dynamic relationship between media, audience engagement, and fan creativity. Across online platforms, fan fiction, discussion forums, and social media, audiences generate elaborate scenarios, conceptual art, and narrative expansions that extend the life and influence of the original narrative. These contributions reveal not only a fascination with the potential of human consciousness but also an appetite for complex, multi-layered storytelling that challenges conventional narrative forms. The hypothetical sequel functions as a canvas for exploring speculative science, philosophical dilemmas, and cinematic innovation, demonstrating how audiences actively participate in the expansion of narrative worlds. Moreover, the discussions around Lucy 2 intersect with contemporary cultural and technological anxieties. Themes such as the ethical use of advanced intelligence, the consequences of cognitive enhancement, and the role of technology in shaping human destiny resonate with current debates surrounding artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and transhumanist thought. Fan speculation transforms the sequel into a narrative laboratory for exploring these ideas, allowing creators and audiences to interrogate the potential trajectories of human development, the nature of moral responsibility, and the challenges of wielding extraordinary knowledge in a complex, interconnected world. The narrative depth and philosophical ambition imagined for Lucy 2 suggest a film that could operate simultaneously on multiple levels, as an action thriller, a speculative science fiction exploration, a philosophical meditation, and a meta-commentary on audience engagement with narrative worlds. Fan interpretations frequently propose multiple story arcs unfolding concurrently, reflecting Lucy's omniscient perspective, with plotlines spanning physical, digital, and metaphysical realms. These arcs allow for the exploration of themes such as interconnectedness, the consequences of knowledge, and the ethical use of power, while maintaining tension and narrative cohesion through strategic conflicts, both intellectual and physical. Finally, the fascination with Lucy 2 exemplifies a broader phenomenon in popular culture in which audiences actively participate in narrative expansion, speculation, and reinterpretation. The film's unresolved ending, its philosophical underpinnings, and its high-concept premise invite continued engagement, discussion, and imaginative extension. While the sequel remains entirely hypothetical, the collective creative energy surrounding it highlights the enduring relevance of Lucy as a cultural artifact and the human desire to explore the boundaries of consciousness, morality, and technological potential. Through these discussions, fan communities construct a narrative universe that is simultaneously speculative, intellectual, and deeply immersive, reflecting both the power of the original film and the participatory nature of contemporary media culture. The concept of a sequel to the 2014 science fiction action film Lucy has been a topic of discussion, speculation, and sometimes confusion among audiences for over a decade. The original film, directed by Luc Besson and starring Scarlett Johansson, presented a story that was as visually striking as it was intellectually ambitious. It told the tale of a woman whose accidental exposure to a powerful synthetic drug, CPH4, dramatically increased her cognitive abilities. As Lucy's mental capacity grew exponentially, she began to perceive time, space, and matter in ways far beyond human comprehension. The narrative explored questions about the limits of human potential, consciousness, and the nature of existence itself. Its cinematic execution, coupled with a high-octane action framework, allowed it to appeal to both mainstream audiences and science fiction enthusiasts. Lucy's transformation culminated in an ending that was both literal and metaphorical. She transcended her physical form, becoming a universal consciousness that could manipulate information, influence events, and exist beyond the constraints of time and space. The uniqueness of Lucy's ending has been central to the ongoing debate about a potential sequel. Traditional Hollywood sequels often rely on the continuity of characters, plotlines, and world building. However, Lucy's final state made it particularly challenging to imagine a continuation that could satisfy both narrative logic and audience expectations. The first film was designed as a complete story, and the director himself expressed skepticism about the feasibility of a sequel. In interviews, Besson consistently highlighted that Lucy's journey reached a natural conclusion, raising questions about how a sequel could integrate the protagonist in a meaningful way without contradicting the original film's philosophical and scientific premises. This narrative closure is a key reason why, despite its commercial success, Lucy did not immediately lead to a follow-up film. Despite this, over the years, discussions about Lucy 2 have persisted in both fan communities and entertainment media. The mid-2010s saw multiple reports suggesting that EuropaCorp, Besson's production company, was exploring options for a sequel. These reports cited potential script development and the possibility of Johansson reprising her role, but they stopped short of confirming a fully greenlit project. Industry sources indicated that the speculative nature of these plans was largely due to the challenges of constructing a coherent narrative after Lucy's transcendence. The reports fueled fan excitement and generated a range of imagined storylines, yet they remained firmly in the domain of rumor. In some instances, these speculative developments were misinterpreted by media outlets, leading to the circulation of inaccurate information about the sequel's status. In 2017, Luc Besson himself addressed these circulating rumors, taking a public stance to clarify the situation. He stated unequivocally that he was not working on a sequel, emphasizing that any reports suggesting otherwise were false. His comments underscored the distinction between industry speculation and verified production, reminding audiences and journalists alike that no formal steps have been taken to initiate Lucy 2. This explicit denial has become a central reference point when discussing the sequel, illustrating both the persistence of public interest and the caution exercised by the creator in managing expectations. The absence of an official sequel has not diminished the cultural impact of Lucy or the curiosity surrounding what a continuation might entail. Fans have taken matters into their own hands, producing content that envisions potential scenarios for Lucy 2. Viral videos, fan trailers, and AI-generated sequences have emerged online, presenting imagined storylines in which Lucy interacts with new threats, technological systems, or evolved forms of human consciousness. These fan creations often incorporate dramatic action sequences, speculative scientific concepts, and narrative twists, demonstrating the depth of audience engagement. While these materials are not official productions, they reflect the enduring fascination with the character, the world, and the philosophical questions the original film raised. The persistence of fan interest is also tied to broader discussions about the nature of storytelling in science fiction. Lucy presented audiences with a character whose evolution transcended conventional human limitations, posing questions about mortality, intelligence, and ethical responsibility. In imagining Lucy 2, fans often explore these themes further, speculating on scenarios in which Lucy's abilities intersect with global technological systems, artificial intelligence, or social dynamics. These narratives, while unofficial, serve as a form of participatory engagement with the ideas of the original film, allowing viewers to explore hypothetical futures, moral dilemmas, and the consequences of superhuman intelligence in ways that the original movie merely suggested. The film industry itself has occasionally commented on the idea of a sequel, highlighting both the narrative challenges and potential opportunities. Producing a sequel to Lucy would require careful balancing of scientific plausibility, narrative coherence, and audience expectation. Writers and directors would need to address the unresolved questions from the first film while introducing new conflicts compelling enough to sustain a feature-length story. The commercial viability of such a project would also be contingent upon audience reception, as well as the availability and willingness of the original cast and creative team. These considerations explain why, despite ongoing speculation, Lucy 2 has yet to materialize as an official production. In addition to online fan content, there has been interest in expanding the Lucy universe through other media formats. Reports from 2022 suggested the development of a television spin-off centered on Morgan Freeman's character, Professor Norman. This series would potentially explore the scientific and ethical dimensions introduced in the original film without requiring Lucy's physical return, offering a narrative avenue for audiences to engage with the universe in new ways. While the series' production status remains uncertain, it represents an example of how creators can expand a fictional universe while respecting the closure provided by the original narrative. The enduring popularity of Lucy highlights a broader trend in contemporary science fiction cinema. Audiences are drawn to stories that combine high-concept ideas with accessible action-driven storytelling. Lucy succeeded in merging philosophical inquiry about human potential with visually compelling sequences, resulting in a film that resonated across demographics and geographic regions. This success is a key factor in the continued interest in a sequel, even when official development remains absent. Fans' speculative narratives for Lucy 2 often propose imaginative challenges for the protagonist, including the evolution of her consciousness into interacting with artificial intelligence, global information networks, or new experimental substances derived from CPH4. These scenarios explore questions about identity, ethics, and the nature of reality, extending the thematic concerns of the original film. While speculative, such narratives demonstrate the creative potential inherent in the Lucy universe and the sustained engagement of a dedicated fanbase. The story of Lucy 2 begins, in a manner of speaking, not with Lucy herself, but with the cultural and cinematic impact of the original film Lucy, which was released in 2014. Directed and written by Luc Besson, Lucy was a French-produced English-language science fiction action film that quickly captured global attention for its audacious premise, spectacular visuals, and provocative engagement with ideas about human evolution, intelligence, and the untapped potential of the human brain. The film starred Scarlett Johansson in the titular role and Morgan Freeman as Professor Norman, a scientist who becomes entwined in Lucy's extraordinary journey. Upon release, Lucy was both commercially successful and culturally influential, grossing over $469 million worldwide on a budget of approximately $40 million. It attracted a wide audience not only because of its action sequences and science fiction spectacle but also because it dared to explore philosophical questions about human consciousness, the nature of knowledge, and the ultimate possibilities of human evolution. The film's high-concept premise revolved around a drug called CPH4, a synthetic substance designed to enhance human brain function to extraordinary levels, which Lucy inadvertently absorbs. Over the course of the narrative, she transforms from an ordinary young woman into a being with superhuman abilities, including telekinesis, enhanced reflexes, heightened perception, and the capacity to manipulate both time and space. The story climaxes in a metaphysical resolution, where Lucy transcends the limitations of her physical form, delivering the sum total of human knowledge to the world through Professor Norman and leaving behind a digital repository of her insights. From the very beginning, Lucy distinguished itself by combining fast-paced action with philosophical inquiry, something that had become increasingly rare in mainstream cinema. The film's narrative structure allowed audiences to engage with speculative science while simultaneously being entertained by high-intensity action sequences, chase scenes, and visually striking sequences that ranged from sprawling urban landscapes to almost surreal depictions of Lucy's evolving consciousness. Critics and audiences alike debated the plausibility of the science presented in the film, noting that the notion of humans using only 10% of their brain was a myth, yet many also praised the film for taking liberties with science to explore deeper metaphysical and philosophical questions. Besson's approach reflected a long-standing fascination with characters who exceed normal human limits, and Lucy, as a character, became a cultural touchstone for discussions about human potential, consciousness, and the intersection between science and metaphysics. The conclusion of the film, in which Lucy becomes an omnipresent, non-corporeal intelligence, was particularly striking because it left no obvious narrative foothold for a conventional sequel. She ceases to exist as a physical entity, her consciousness having merged with the universe, thus leaving the story conclusively resolved while simultaneously opening imaginative avenues for philosophical speculation. In the years following the release of Lucy, the cinematic community and fanbase naturally began to speculate about the possibility of a sequel. The commercial success of the original film made the idea of a continuation tempting from a financial perspective, and fans were eager to imagine what might happen after Lucy's transcendence. This speculation was fueled in part by comments made by Luc Besson during interviews and press appearances, though these comments were often ambiguous. At various points, Besson discussed the challenges of creating a sequel, acknowledging both the narrative difficulties presented by Lucy's transformation and the potential intrigue of exploring the universe she had become a part of. He made it clear that while he had ideas and concepts that could theoretically serve as the basis for a continuation, there were no formal plans to produce Lucy 2, and nothing had been committed to production. Despite these clarifications, the rumor mill began to churn, and online communities, fan sites, and entertainment blogs began generating detailed hypothetical scenarios for a sequel, including imagined plotlines, potential character returns, and speculative cast additions. Compounding the confusion, various fan-made trailers and digital content circulated online under the banner of Lucy 2. These often included edited footage from the original film, computer-generated imagery, or even AI-generated content designed to appear as though it were promotional material for an official sequel. Some of these trailers were highly polished, complete with dramatic scores, voiceovers, and visual effects intended to emulate the cinematic style of the original. They gained traction on video-sharing platforms and social media, reaching audiences that were eager for a continuation of Lucy's story. Unfortunately, these trailers were entirely unofficial, and many viewers were misled into believing that Lucy 2 was in active production or about to be released. This phenomenon illustrates the broader dynamics of fan engagement in contemporary media, where digital technologies allow enthusiasts to create and circulate content that blurs the line between official and unofficial productions. The prevalence of such fan content has contributed to a persistent, though misleading, narrative that Lucy 2 exists as a forthcoming film, even though no legitimate studio has announced or confirmed such a project. In addition to fan speculation, there were sporadic industry rumors suggesting that EuropaCorp, Besson's production company, had at some point considered developing a sequel. Some sources claimed that scripts had been drafted or concepts outlined for Lucy 2, potentially involving new characters, threats, or challenges arising from the cosmic scale of Lucy's abilities. However, these claims were never substantiated by credible reporting, and Besson himself publicly denied that any sequel was in development. These denials were repeated across multiple interviews and were corroborated by major entertainment news outlets, making it clear that while the idea of a sequel was appealing to fans and perhaps even to producers, it had not progressed beyond the realm of speculation or conceptual discussion. Nevertheless, the notion of Lucy 2 persisted online, amplified by fan communities and rumor sites that often recycled older reports or misinterpreted statements made by filmmakers. The result is a complex landscape in which the line between potential project, rumor, and fan fiction has become difficult for casual observers to discern. The narrative challenges associated with creating Lucy 2 are substantial. The original film concluded in a way that definitively resolved Lucy's arc while simultaneously elevating the story into metaphysical territory. Any sequel would have to navigate the tension between retaining audience engagement through action and spectacle while plausibly extending a story in which the central character has effectively transcended human limitations. This might involve focusing on secondary characters, exploring new facets of the universe Lucy has entered, or introducing new threats and philosophical dilemmas that align with the conceptual framework of the first film. For example, some speculation has centered on the character of Professor Norman, who received the repository of Lucy's knowledge. A sequel could conceivably explore the consequences of humanity grappling with access to this information, examining societal, ethical, and existential questions. Alternatively, a sequel could introduce entirely new protagonists interacting with the legacy of Lucy's abilities, providing opportunities for narrative expansion while acknowledging the metaphysical conclusions of the original film. Such approaches, while intriguing in theory, remain purely speculative in the absence of any official production commitment. The cultural impact of Lucy and the fascination with a potential sequel can also be understood within the broader context of science fiction cinema. Audiences are often drawn to high-concept stories that blend spectacle with philosophical inquiry, and Lucy's story exemplifies this combination. The idea of humans achieving godlike abilities, confronting the limitations of mortality, and engaging with questions about the nature of consciousness resonates with viewers who are interested in both action-driven narratives and intellectual exploration. The continued interest in Lucy 2, therefore, is not surprising. It reflects a desire among fans to further engage with the ideas presented in the original film, as well as the appetite for high-intensity, visually dynamic cinema. However, the absence of an official sequel also illustrates the challenges inherent in producing films that operate at the intersection of speculative fiction and mainstream entertainment. Balancing narrative coherence, philosophical depth, and mass audience appeal requires careful consideration, and it appears that, to date, no studio has moved forward with a project that satisfies these criteria for Lucy 2. The narrative arc of Lucy is structured in a way that gradually escalates from conventional action sequences to abstract explorations of metaphysical phenomena, providing the audience with both visceral excitement and intellectual stimulation. Early sequences focus on Lucy's confrontation with the criminal underworld, depicting a realistic and grounded struggle for survival. These scenes emphasize her vulnerability and the stakes involved in her sudden entanglement with dangerous forces. The action choreography, which includes hand-to-hand combat, chase sequences, and gunfights, is meticulously staged to create tension and suspense. As Lucy's cognitive abilities expand, however, the nature of these confrontations changes dramatically. She becomes capable of anticipating moves before they occur, manipulating physical objects remotely, and outsmarting opponents with minimal effort. This transformation not only heightens the intensity of the action but also symbolizes the broader thematic shift from human limitations to superhuman potential. The evolution of the action sequences mirrors the evolution of Lucy herself, creating a narrative synergy between character development and cinematic spectacle. One of the most compelling aspects of the film is its exploration of temporality and perception. As Lucy's brain capacity increases, she begins to experience time in a nonlinear fashion, perceiving past, present, and future simultaneously. This shift challenges conventional storytelling and requires the audience to adapt to a new conceptual framework. Visual effects are employed to illustrate this altered perception, using techniques such as time-lapse photography, split screens, and rapid montage sequences. The result is a sensory experience that conveys both the exhilaration and disorientation of transcendent cognitive awareness. By manipulating cinematic time and space in this way, Besson not only enhances the narrative but also invites viewers to contemplate the nature of consciousness and the relationship between perception and reality. The film's treatment of time becomes a central motif, reflecting Lucy's journey from ordinary human existence to a state of near omniscience. Lucy's interactions with Professor Norman serve as the intellectual backbone of the film, providing a framework for understanding the implications of her transformation. Morgan Freeman's portrayal of Norman is calm, authoritative, and grounded, offering explanations that contextualize Lucy's abilities within the realm of scientific possibility, albeit exaggerated for narrative purposes. Their dialogues explore topics such as neural plasticity, the molecular mechanisms of cognition, and the philosophical ramifications of accessing the full potential of the human brain. These exchanges are crucial for maintaining a sense of plausibility, as they provide the audience with a conceptual anchor amidst the increasingly surreal visual and narrative developments. The mentor-student dynamic also reinforces the thematic contrast between human limitation and superhuman capability, highlighting the ethical and existential questions that arise when one transcends ordinary cognition. In many ways, Professor Norman functions as the audience surrogate, guiding viewers through complex scientific and philosophical terrain and allowing the film to balance spectacle with intellectual engagement. The supporting cast, while less prominent than Lucy and Professor Norman, contributes significantly to the narrative tension and thematic depth. Characters such as Mr. Jang, portrayed by Amr Waked, represent the moral and practical consequences of ordinary human ambition confronted with extraordinary power. Their motivations are grounded in greed, survival, and self-interest, providing a counterpoint to Lucy's evolving perspective. These interactions emphasize the disparity between ordinary human cognition and the capabilities Lucy acquires, reinforcing the sense of isolation and detachment that accompanies her transformation. Minor characters, including law enforcement officials, criminals, and bystanders, serve to illustrate the broader societal context in which Lucy's journey unfolds, highlighting the ripple effects of superhuman abilities on the ordinary world. Through careful characterization and narrative placement, the film creates a rich tapestry of human and superhuman interaction, enhancing both dramatic tension and thematic resonance. The film's climax is a masterful synthesis of visual spectacle, philosophical inquiry, and narrative resolution. As Lucy approaches the ultimate limit of her cognitive potential, she confronts the existential reality of her own impermanence and the implications of her abilities for the future of humanity. The final sequences depict her transcending physical form, achieving a state of pure consciousness that allows her to influence the universe on a fundamental level. This transcendence is represented through innovative visual effects, including digital composites, CGI-enhanced environments, and symbolic imagery that conveys the dissolution of physical boundaries. The narrative resolution, while open-ended, suggests both the culmination of Lucy's personal journey and the broader philosophical statement about the potential trajectory of human evolution. By concluding the film in this manner, Besson reinforces the central themes of knowledge, power, and the ethical responsibilities inherent in extraordinary capability, leaving the audience to contemplate the possibilities and consequences of transcending human limitations. Critically, Lucy received a range of responses, with some reviewers praising its imaginative premise, visual inventiveness, and philosophical ambition, while others critiqued its scientific accuracy and narrative coherence. The film sparked widespread discussion about the plausibility of its central premise, the ethical implications of cognitive enhancement, and the cinematic techniques used to represent abstract concepts. Its success at the box office reflected a combination of spectacle, star power, and cultural fascination with human potential, demonstrating the appeal of narratives that blend action with intellectual inquiry. Audience reactions often highlighted the dual impact of the film, the thrill of high-stakes action sequences and the intrigue of contemplating philosophical questions about consciousness, mortality, and the limits of human cognition. Over time, Lucy has maintained cultural relevance, inspiring discussions in academic, scientific, and popular contexts about the interplay between human biology, technological augmentation, and narrative imagination. In the imagined sequel, Lucy 2, the narrative complexity deepens as Lucy's expanded consciousness begins to engage with global-scale phenomena. Fan speculation frequently situates her interventions in crises that span environmental, technological, and geopolitical domains, emphasizing the magnitude of her omnipresent perspective. One proposed arc involves the destabilization of international power structures due to emerging technologies capable of cognitive enhancement. Governments, private corporations, and clandestine organizations are depicted as racing to harness or replicate Lucy's abilities, often without fully understanding the ethical ramifications or the inherent dangers of such powers. In these speculative storylines, Lucy functions as both overseer and subtle manipulator, preventing catastrophic misuse while navigating the unpredictable consequences of her interventions. The tension arises not from direct confrontation alone but from Lucy's need to anticipate outcomes across multiple levels of complexity, social, technological, and metaphysical, requiring her to act strategically and ethically simultaneously. Another narrative thread imagined by fans involves Lucy confronting rival superintelligent entities, either artificial intelligences or humans who have partially accessed the same cognitive enhancements. These antagonists are conceptualized as having the ability to predict, manipulate, or even contest aspects of reality in ways that challenge Lucy's omnipresence. The imagined conflicts are intricate, involving layers of strategy, counter-strategy, and ethical dilemmas, in which actions reverberate across time and space. Some fan speculations include sequences in which Lucy communicates with these entities through abstract symbolic interactions, virtual simulations, or thought projections, highlighting the conceptual and philosophical dimensions of her abilities. The tension between free will, determinism, and omniscience becomes central to the narrative, allowing the audience to consider profound questions about agency, responsibility, and the nature of consciousness itself. Simultaneously, fan-created narratives emphasize Lucy's interaction with human allies who serve as intermediaries in the physical world. These individuals are often depicted as highly intelligent, morally grounded, and strategically adept, chosen by Lucy to execute actions or make decisions that she cannot directly intervene in due to the ethical constraints of preserving human autonomy. The interactions between Lucy and her allies provide opportunities for dramatic tension, emotional resonance, and philosophical exploration. Speculative scenarios include her guiding them through crises, providing insight into complex decision-making, and challenging them to confront moral ambiguities that mirror her own internal deliberations. These sequences reinforce the thematic core of the imagined sequel, the interplay between knowledge, power, and ethical responsibility. Visual and auditory design in the speculative sequel is envisioned as deeply integrated with narrative and thematic elements. Fans often describe sequences in which Lucy perceives simultaneous layers of reality, from molecular interactions to cosmic patterns, represented through sophisticated CGI, abstract visualizations, and immersive cinematography. Sound design complements these sequences by incorporating spatial audio, layered harmonics, and electronic textures, evoking the expansion of consciousness and the perception of multiple dimensions simultaneously. The integration of these elements is imagined to create an experience that is as intellectually and philosophically engaging as it is viscerally immersive, reflecting Lucy's unique perspective and the narrative ambition of exploring consciousness beyond human limitations. Speculative plot arcs frequently explore Lucy's engagement with emergent artificial intelligences that threaten global stability. Fan narrative suggests scenarios in which AI networks gain autonomy, develop their own ethical frameworks, or pursue objectives misaligned with human well-being. In response, Lucy must navigate these systems, anticipating outcomes, influencing digital architectures, and intervening in ways that balance efficacy with moral responsibility. These sequences offer opportunities for exploring the limits of knowledge, the interplay between human and artificial cognition, and the consequences of technological power. They also provide a vehicle for visual and conceptual experimentation, depicting abstract data streams, cybernetic networks, and complex systems in ways that challenge conventional cinematic representation. Climactic sequences in imagined Lucy 2 narratives often blend philosophical resolution with spectacular action. Fan speculation suggests moments in which Lucy orchestrates interventions across multiple temporal and spatial dimensions, simultaneously preventing disasters, neutralizing threats, and guiding human development. These sequences are described as incorporating both physical and metaphysical conflict, blending familiar action elements, such as high-intensity movement, digital manipulation, and environmental interaction, with abstract conceptual representations of knowledge, consciousness, and causality. Through these climactic moments, the narrative explores the reconciliation of omniscience with ethical responsibility, culminating in resolutions that are both intellectually satisfying and emotionally resonant. The dialogue in these speculative scenarios is frequently designed to reflect the dual nature of Lucy's existence, part human, part transcendent intelligence. Conversations between Lucy and her human allies often explore ethical dilemmas, strategic considerations, and philosophical inquiry, emphasizing the tension between action and contemplation. Interactions with antagonistic entities, whether human or artificial, are envisioned as complex exchanges of reasoning, strategy, and moral argumentation, highlighting the narrative ambition of balancing intellectual depth with cinematic excitement. Fans often imagine Lucy's speech patterns evolving throughout the narrative, beginning with human familiarity and gradually incorporating abstract, conceptual, or symbolic elements that reflect her expanded cognitive state, further reinforcing the thematic core of transformation, transcendence, and the integration of consciousness with universal systems. Another key element of fan speculation concerns the consequences of Lucy's interventions on a societal and global scale. Hypothetical scenarios include shifts in technological development, the ethical governance of human enhancement, and the preservation of social stability in response to unprecedented intelligence. Lucy's guidance is envisioned as subtle and indirect, respecting the autonomy of human societies while steering outcomes toward positive and sustainable trajectories. These imagined narrative consequences allow fans to explore questions of agency, responsibility, and the ethics of intervention, reflecting contemporary debates surrounding governance, technology, and the moral challenges posed by scientific advancement. In addition to narrative speculation, the imagined sequel often engages with metanarrative elements, reflecting the participatory role of audiences in shaping story worlds. Fan communities create extensive supplemental materials, including storyboards, visual art, plot synopses, and philosophical essays, all of which contribute to a collective conceptualization of Lucy 2. This participatory engagement illustrates the enduring cultural impact of the original film, demonstrating how unresolved narrative threads can inspire ongoing intellectual, creative, and speculative exploration. Through these processes, audiences not only expand the narrative universe of Lucy but also explore their own fascination with consciousness, power, and ethical responsibility in ways that extend beyond the cinematic medium. The final imagined resolution of Lucy 2 in fan narratives often emphasizes integration rather than confrontation. Lucy, having navigated complex moral, intellectual, and strategic challenges, achieves a form of synthesis in which her expanded consciousness aligns with human development, technological advancement, and the ethical use of knowledge. The conclusion is frequently depicted as open-ended or ambiguously resolved, allowing audiences to contemplate the ongoing implications of her actions and the broader questions raised by the narrative. This resolution reinforces the central themes of the imagined sequel: the responsible use of power, the ethical dimensions of intelligence, and the profound philosophical questions associated with transcendent consciousness. Ultimately, the fascination with Lucy 2 reflects both the impact of the original 2014 film and the human desire to explore speculative possibilities at the intersection of science, philosophy, and imagination. While no official sequel exists, fan-created narratives, visualizations, and philosophical interpretations have constructed an elaborate conceptual universe that extends the story of Lucy far beyond its cinematic origins. These speculative narratives explore the consequences of omniscience, the ethical deployment of extraordinary abilities, and the limits of human understanding, while maintaining a connection to the kinetic action and visual spectacle that characterized the original film. Through this imaginative exercise, audiences engage with questions of consciousness, morality, and technological potential, creating a rich and enduring dialogue between fiction, philosophy, and the possibilities of human cognition. The narrative structure of the original Lucy is particularly important for understanding the challenges that a potential sequel would face. In the 2014 film, Lucy evolves from a relatively ordinary woman into a being of extraordinary intelligence and capability, ultimately transcending her physical form. This transformation is gradual but increasingly rapid as her cognitive function rises beyond human norms. The early stages of her change are marked by common science fiction tropes, enhanced memory, faster reaction times, and superhuman physical abilities. However, as the film progresses, Lucy's abilities shift into realms that defy conventional physics and biology, allowing her to manipulate matter, time, and information in unprecedented ways. This escalation reaches a climax when she fully integrates with the universe's informational structure, effectively becoming omnipresent. Any sequel must reckon with this narrative progression, determining whether Lucy exists in a tangible, relatable form or solely as a conceptual, omniscient entity. Fans and critics alike have noted that the philosophical underpinnings of Lucy's transformation are what make the sequel both intriguing and challenging. Questions of identity, morality, and the limits of human understanding permeate the story, inviting audiences to contemplate how intelligence and consciousness define the self. A sequel would need to navigate these complex themes while retaining the excitement and spectacle that characterized the original. Such a balance is difficult to achieve in mainstream cinema, which often prioritizes action sequences over introspective exploration. Nevertheless, the fan-generated content demonstrates that there is a widespread appetite for stories that delve into these philosophical questions, suggesting that a well-executed sequel could find a receptive audience if it addresses these thematic concerns with intelligence and imagination. Over the past decade, multiple speculative scenarios for Lucy 2 have been proposed by fans and independent creators. One common theme involves Lucy interacting with artificial intelligence or quantum networks, reflecting contemporary concerns about the integration of technology with human cognition. In these imagined narratives, Lucy's consciousness could serve as a bridge between organic intelligence and digital systems, exploring the consequences of omniscience in a technologically saturated world. Other fan scenarios introduce global crises that require Lucy's intervention, such as ecological disasters, geopolitical conflicts, or rogue scientific experiments. These storylines often attempt to reconcile her omnipresent abilities with the need for dramatic tension, inventing obstacles that challenge her in new and imaginative ways. Another recurring theme in fan speculation is the ethical dimension of Lucy's evolution. Having transcended human limitations, Lucy's decisions could have profound effects on humanity and the planet. This raises questions about responsibility, free will, and the potential dangers of superhuman cognition. In many fan-created storylines, her character must navigate the moral complexities of using her powers to influence human society, sometimes encountering resistance from those who fear or misunderstand her. These narratives mirror the broader ethical questions posed by artificial intelligence and emerging technologies, making Lucy a symbolic figure through which audiences can explore contemporary anxieties and hopes. The viral fan content associated with Lucy 2 has further amplified interest in the potential sequel. Platforms such as YouTube and social media have hosted numerous trailers, animations, and concept videos, many of which employ advanced editing techniques or AI-generated imagery. These fan-made productions often simulate the look and feel of a professionally produced film, complete with dramatic music, voiceovers, and imagined dialogue. While these creations are not official, they contribute to the cultural conversation around Lucy 2, demonstrating the ways in which fans actively participate in world-building and narrative speculation. The widespread circulation of these videos also illustrates the power of digital media in shaping perceptions about potential film projects, blurring the line between rumor, expectation, and fan fiction. The persistence of fan interest has not gone unnoticed by the broader entertainment industry. While no official production has commenced, studios and producers are aware of the ongoing conversation surrounding Lucy 2. In some cases, the enthusiasm for a sequel has prompted discussions about potential narrative directions, marketing strategies, and the commercial viability of continuing the franchise. However, the complexity of Lucy's character arc and the conceptual challenges inherent in her transcendence continue to pose significant barriers. Executives and creative teams must weigh the potential benefits of producing a sequel against the risk of undermining the philosophical and narrative impact of the original film. In addition to narrative speculation, technical considerations play a crucial role in discussions about Lucy 2. The original film employed sophisticated visual effects to convey Lucy's transformation, blending realistic physical action with abstract depictions of information flow and cognitive expansion. Any sequel would likely require comparable or greater technical innovation to convincingly portray her abilities and interactions with the world. This includes advancements in computer-generated imagery, motion capture, and possibly virtual or augmented reality technologies. The challenge lies in creating visuals that are both scientifically plausible within the film's logic and emotionally resonant for the audience, ensuring that Lucy's evolution is comprehensible and engaging. The international appeal of the original Lucy further complicates and enriches the conversation about a sequel. The film performed well across multiple markets, attracting audiences in Europe, North America, and Asia. Its success demonstrates the global resonance of high-concept science fiction that combines philosophical inquiry with action-driven storytelling. Any potential sequel would need to balance localized cultural appeal with a universal narrative, potentially integrating global settings, diverse characters, and issues of worldwide significance. This global perspective could enhance the story, allowing Lucy 2 to explore themes of consciousness and morality on an international scale while maintaining the intimate personal journey of the protagonist. The speculative narratives created by fans also often explore relationships and character dynamics beyond Lucy herself. Some imagined storylines feature returning characters from the original film, such as Professor Norman, whose scientific knowledge and ethical frameworks provide a counterpoint to Lucy's transcendent abilities. Other scenarios introduce new characters, including allies and adversaries, who challenge Lucy in ways that test her understanding of morality, cooperation, and the limits of her power. These character-driven approaches attempt to humanize the story, providing emotional grounding amid the abstract and philosophical dimensions of her evolution. Following the widespread discussion about the original Lucy, fan engagement around the concept of a sequel grew rapidly. Online communities, forums, and social media platforms became hubs for imaginative speculation, where enthusiasts attempted to construct narratives that could plausibly extend Lucy's story. Some fans focused on the metaphysical implications of her transcendence, hypothesizing how a being with complete knowledge and omnipresence might interact with the physical world or influence human society. Others concentrated on the potential for new antagonists, envisioning threats that could challenge or counteract Lucy's abilities. These hypothetical scenarios often drew upon a combination of scientific speculation, philosophical inquiry, and the tropes of action and superhero cinema, blending them into narrative possibilities that were at once thrilling and intellectually engaging. The sheer diversity of fan-generated ideas reflected both the creative energy inspired by the original film and the lack of official guidance regarding the continuation of the story, leaving the imaginative space wide open. A significant component of this fan engagement manifested in the form of unofficial trailers and digital content purporting to represent Lucy 2. These productions ranged from simple video edits, where scenes from the original film were reassembled and accompanied by new soundtracks, to highly sophisticated digital creations involving computer-generated imagery and AI-assisted effects. Some creators took footage of Scarlett Johansson, Morgan Freeman, or other actors, edited it in ways that suggested a new narrative, and inserted entirely new visual sequences to simulate high-concept action and science fiction elements. The resulting videos were often highly polished, visually coherent, and emotionally engaging, lending them a veneer of credibility in the eyes of casual viewers. Social media platforms amplified the reach of these creations, allowing them to circulate widely and attract significant attention. View counts in the hundreds of thousands were not uncommon, and some fan-made trailers were shared by individuals who genuinely believed, or wished others to believe, that Lucy 2 was in active production. This dynamic contributed to a pervasive sense of anticipation and confusion, as audiences struggled to differentiate between officially sanctioned productions and fan-created speculative content. The speculative narratives constructed by fans often involved a variety of imaginative extensions of the original story. One common theme was the notion that Lucy's consciousness, having transcended the human plane, might encounter other advanced entities, either artificial or extraterrestrial in nature. Such entities could present existential challenges or ethical dilemmas, requiring Lucy to engage with the universe at a level beyond human comprehension. Another frequent speculation involved the use of Professor Norman's character as a bridge between humanity and Lucy's transcendent knowledge. In these narratives, Norman often becomes a central figure in navigating the consequences of possessing such knowledge, confronting moral questions about the proper use of information that could potentially alter society, technology, and human evolution. Some fans even speculated about new protagonists who might inherit aspects of Lucy's abilities, leading to narratives that combined mentorship, inheritance, and conflict within a high-stakes, science fiction context. These imagined plotlines, while not grounded in any official announcement, demonstrate the capacity of fans to construct coherent and compelling narrative extensions based on the foundational story of Lucy. Beyond narrative speculation, discussions about potential cast members for Lucy 2 were a prominent feature of online fan activity. Many fans expressed a desire for the return of Scarlett Johansson in the titular role, citing the continuity of character and her performance as essential to preserving the story's integrity. Other speculated returns included Morgan Freeman reprising his role as Professor Norman, and Jason Statham or other action stars being cast as new characters or antagonists. Some fan-created material even imagined the inclusion of younger actors or entirely new characters, representing the next generation of humans capable of interacting with or inheriting Lucy's abilities. Despite the enthusiasm and creativity behind these speculations, it is important to note that none of these casting ideas were confirmed by any studio or production company. They exist solely in the realm of fan-generated content, which, while imaginative, cannot be taken as evidence of an actual production. The persistence of Lucy 2 rumors can also be understood in the broader context of modern media consumption. In the digital age, the lines between fan speculation, social media hype, and official announcements are increasingly blurred. The viral nature of content sharing means that even unverified information can gain widespread traction, creating a feedback loop where fan interest drives further speculation, which in turn reinforces the perception that a sequel is imminent. Entertainment news outlets sometimes amplify these dynamics inadvertently by reporting on fan reactions or speculative claims, without clearly distinguishing between confirmed production news and conjecture. Consequently, Lucy 2 has become a prominent example of a contemporary phenomenon in which a fictional concept is treated as reality within certain segments of online culture, regardless of whether a formal production exists. Another dimension of fan speculation revolves around potential thematic directions for a sequel. Many enthusiasts have hypothesized that Lucy 2 could explore deeper philosophical questions related to consciousness, the limits of knowledge, and the nature of human evolution. This includes considering how human societies might respond to the sudden availability of near-omniscient information, how ethical systems might be challenged or reshaped, and how the balance of power could shift if a being with capabilities akin to Lucy's existed within or adjacent to human society. Some discussions even extend to speculative scientific implications, such as the manipulation of time, space, and matter, or the consequences of accelerated human evolution catalyzed by interaction with Lucy or her derivatives. These discussions demonstrate the enduring intellectual engagement the original film inspired and the reasons why fans continue to create detailed speculative narratives in the absence of official material. Additionally, Lucy 2 speculation intersects with broader trends in science fiction and action cinema, including the popularity of superhero and transhumanist narratives. The notion of a human transcending physical and cognitive limits resonates with audiences familiar with comic book adaptations and films exploring artificial intelligence or post-human evolution. Consequently, the imagined sequel fits within a wider cultural appetite for stories that merge spectacle with conceptual complexity. The combination of philosophical inquiry, high-stakes conflict, and visually striking action creates a fertile space for fan-driven narratives, explaining the proliferation of detailed story ideas, visual content, and online discussions surrounding the unproduced sequel. Despite the enthusiasm and creativity surrounding Lucy 2, the absence of official confirmation has remained a constant. Luc Besson has repeatedly clarified that no production is underway, and major studios have not announced any plans for a sequel. Reports that suggest otherwise are either misinterpretations of past interviews, speculative projections, or outright fabrications created for entertainment or marketing purposes on unauthorized platforms. This discrepancy between fan perception and reality underscores the challenges inherent in the modern media landscape, where digital content can create the impression of imminent production regardless of official activity. Fans' persistent interest, however, indicates that the conceptual space for Lucy 2 remains compelling and continues to inspire creative expression, even if it does not correspond to an actual, financed film project.